Welcome, everybody. This is the Just Keep Reaching show, where we are helping you fulfill your full potential in life and in business by sharing stories, tips, and experiences from those who just keep reaching. My name is Joe Rosner, and each week I will bring you incredible guests in order to show you that we all come from different places, but to fulfill our full potential, we must just keep reaching. Welcome back, everybody, to a mini episode of the Just Keep Reaching show I like to call Inside Joe's Mind. So today I'll be covering, a couple of fundamentals in here that I see so oftenly get overlooked in, the online space and even, in brick and mortar space with business. And, one of the things that I want to say right from the get-go is you always hear these terms, like, oh, there's an easy way to do this. There's an easy way to do that. But what you really need to understand is there's not necessarily an easy way to do anything. There's a simple way. And what I mean by that is, simple and easy are not the same thing. Easy means the effort, basically that you're going to put into something to make it happen. Simple means, okay, so you have an idea, right? You make a plan, and then you start implementing and you take action on that plan, right? That's a simple process, but actually doing the work, taking the action and implementing it is not an easy part. So when you guys think easy, I want you guys to think simple and eliminate the word easy from, getting anywhere as far as being successful within your business. Now, anything, I say this time and time again, anything that's easy isn't worth having. And, anything that generally takes a little bit of grit, a little bit of hustle, generally lasts a lifetime. You learn so much when you put in all the effort and you're not looking on the expectation in the forefront of what you're doing. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, when they start something, they're holding an expectation for themselves versus for an expectation of what they're doing for others. And the reason why I say that, because the truth to living is giving, right? You want to find your bigger purpose, the thing that is so much bigger than yourself, and you need to go to work on it every single day. Because at the end of the day, what we have right now and where we are in our current life is literally because of us, right? Your current situation is related to your current level of thinking. And for a lot of people, this might be hard to accept, but everything you have, everything that is coming your way right now is because of the choices that you're making, is because the thought process you have going on. So just think about that for a minute. When you realize the power to change those things is literally in your hands, you can make astronomical shifts forward in your business. And the reason why I say that is because you hear the terms all the time, right? Oh, if you focus on negative things are always going to happen, right? Because if you put out negative stuff into the universe, it's going to come back tenfold because that's all you're focusing on. And you get what you focus on. So if you're only focusing on the things that aren't going the way that you want them to go, whether it's within your business, within your relationship, or even within your health and fitness journey, right? You're not going to move forward. It's almost like only focusing on the things that you have done and never focusing on where you want to go. You're never really going to move forward. So think about where you're at and realize to yourself and tell yourself this. And the reason why I talk about this is because our decisions that we make every single day, they have an impact, whether it's positive or negative, right? And when you think about what you're doing, I always want you to focus on the positive impact and think about the positive solution. And the reason why I say this is because when I started years ago, we were in massive amounts of debt. I call it dumb tax, right? Because I could have sat there and I could have, played victim and said, oh man, this sucks. We're in massive amounts of debt. How am I going to get out of this? Why is this happening to me? My life sucks and all of this stuff. Or I could sit there and I can think about it for 1 second and say, okay, so this is what's going on. We have X amount of debt. How do we overcome this? What is the solution to this problem, right? that not only saves me time, but it also shifts my focus to a positive solution focus, right? So instead of playing victim, which is only going to bring me down a very, very windy and dull trail and not lead me anywhere besides having more negative things happen, I'm going to focus on a solution that's going to move me forward. Now, this goes back to simple, not easy, right? So that shift takes practice. That shift takes energy every single day. It's something that you have to focus on and be recognizing on a regular basis, right? So when something happens, and the reason why I say this, because it's not just in business, right? In business, it's crucial to always focus on the solution rather than the problem. If you have a problem, figure out what the solution is, overcome it, you improvise, you adapt, and you overcome those things, right? And you keep moving forward. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. But in everyday life, it takes practice for you to focus on the positive solutions, right? So how are you thinking about stuff? Man, I got, a nail in my tire. This sucks. I'm late for work, blah, blah, blah. Or you can say, you know what? I got a nail in my tire. This is a good learning point for me. Now I know I need to leave a little bit earlier. So that way, instead of, being late, if something does ever happen, I can at least, plan for that and make it to work on time. Plus, I also needed new tires anyways. So I guess it's a good thing that this all happened today. So that way I can just knock it all out of the park and I won't have to worry about it and I'll be prepared for the next time anyways. Right? So that you can say, you know what? Life sucks. I got a nail in my tire. I spilt my coffee on my shirt, blah, blah, blah. Right? Or say, hey, guess what? I spilt my coffee on my shirt. I had to change my shirt. And then I got a compliment at work because of X, Y, Z, or I got a compliment from so-and-so asking me, where did I get this shirt, which also led to another connection. And I was talking to her and I realized that she was, an investor. She owned this other company or she did X, Y, and Z. And we're going to maybe, connect a little bit later this week and kind of collaborate on maybe some ideas of where we can work together, right? There's always something positive you can focus on whenever something negative is happening. So if you're thinking negative, everything as a negative, it's going to be very hard for you to see the positive, right? So even when, you're in work and you're grinding it out, right? So a lot of people, they don't like the term hustle, grind, work, those things. They like the term of like journey and living and enjoying the journey. Well, guess what? You can still hustle and enjoy the journey at the same time, knowing what the bigger purpose is, because when you think about hustling, nothing comes easy, no matter what. So I think what happens is there's so much information out there from so many different types of people that are saying you can have X, Y, and Z. And, by just doing this, the bare minimum, or by doing this, those things may work for a little bit of a little period of time, right? Say you get into a program and they're like, hey, yeah, you can have X, Y, and Z in a short period of time. They're going to give you some quick basics. That's going to maybe, make you some income in your business. But then all of a sudden you start having pitfalls. You start, not necessarily doing some of the things that you need to do because you didn't create the foundational habits in your business that you need to continuously keep moving forward, right? So when you think about where you're at, what you're doing, focus on a positive solution. It's okay to have pitfalls in your business. It's okay to have days that don't go the way that you want it to go. As long as you just keep reaching. In those moments when those things pop up, that is a time to learn. That is a time to take advantage of what is in your way and figure out a solution to overcome it. Because once you go through it, once you actually experience it, is truly the only time you know how to handle it. You can get told X, Y, Z, and you can read a book about X, Y, Z, but you don't know for sure until you actually go through it, until you actually do it. And that's why, I hear all the time, oh, so-and-so is this and so-and-so is this. Well, guess what? Go through the process, have some pitfalls, learn from your mistakes, and keep going. The only reason why most people don't remember how many times, some of these, influencer, like these extremely successful influencers, billionaires, why we don't know how many times they failed is because they never held on to those failures. They never thought about those things as failures. They thought about it as a bump in the road. They learned from it. They improvised, they adapted, and they overcame it, and they kept moving forward, right? you might have to shift gears a little bit, but that's okay. Don't let that shifting of the gear hold you back from moving forward totally and shifting where you want to go. Remember the bigger purpose here, the impact, the service that you want to have with your product or your service, and remember what that's going to do and what it's going to take. Now, don't underestimate the fact that, whether it's you want to serve, 1 million people or 1 billion people on this planet with your products or your services. The thing is it's going to take a lot of work to do that. So just be prepared to know it's not going to be something that you can just go off and it's just going to come to you in a year. It's going to come to you in 6 months. It's going to come to you in 3 months. It takes consistent practice day in and day out to get to where you want to go, to start accumulating the things and the knowledge that you learn through those pitfalls to get to the top to where you want to be, right? So when you think about training, right? Training is something that we do every single day within our business. Training, whether it's for sales, whether it's phone calls, whether it's how we communicate, support, whatever it is. Training is something that we do daily, not something that we did. When you think about an NBA player, when you think about a football player, they train religiously, consistently over and over and over again. But the one thing that I want you guys to remember is, what are they training on? They're training on the basics. They're training on the fundamentals, the things that are going to move them forward, that are known and proven to work, because that's how they consistently grow every single day, and they keep moving in a forward motion within their team or whatever sport it is, that you're looking at. So think about training as something that is necessary every single day. It's just like learning. If you stop learning, you're dying. You can only grow as much as you grow yourself. So when you think about your business, there's one huge fundamental that I see online and offline that is not being done on a regular basis, and that is tracking. Tracking is vital to your success. And why do I say that? Because everything that you do has something positive come from it, right? And these are incremental steps. Now, when you make these incremental steps, that's progress, right? Sometimes they're a little bigger, sometimes they're a little smaller. Nobody ever just gets given all of this stuff and boom, they're extremely successful, and that's that. I mean, there might be a few people out there that got handed, some things, but anybody that started from nothing or that wants to grow something massive has generally had incremental steps and phases within their growth period of their business that got them to where they are. And tracking was a huge part of that, because if you're not tracking, you are not going to be successful. If you're not tracking, you're only winging it, right? That's where most businesses fail, whether it's online or offline. And what I mean by that is, let me ask you, when you're doing phone calls, when you're online and you're messaging people and you're connecting with people, if you're not keeping track of all that stuff, how do you know whether you're progressing? That's almost like saying you want to lose weight, but you're not tracking whether or not you're in a caloric deficit. It's not going to happen, right? If you want to gain lean muscle and you have to do X, Y, and Z, and it has to be specifically measured out, you can't gain that lean muscle unless you're tracking those things on a regular basis. You may gain that lean muscle by winging it, but it's not going to be a long-term solution, because it's not being able to track it. If you can't track it, you can't grow it. And this goes 100% for your business. So I see a lot of online right now, a lot of people kind of winging some of the stuff, and they're not really tracking all of the different areas of their business. Now, I know that this can be tedious. I know that this can be hard work. But one of the things when I was working in a facility and we created $1 million training team in 10 months, the reason why that happened is because we were tracking every single number. We were tracking every single call. We were tracking all the things that added up within the business, right? How much money was coming in? How much money was going out? How many people were we communicating with? How many people were we serving on a regular basis? Now, the key is to serve more people. If you're focusing on serving and helping people first, you'll never have to worry about the income on the back end. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes in sales especially, I see a lot of people, they have ups and down weeks, right? They're kind of guessing. They're playing a game. But the key is they can have progress every day as long as they do a few things. One of them is training, right? They have to train every single day, right? They have to, maybe it's role playing, maybe it's objection handling, maybe it's getting on the phone or taking somebody and going through some of the, some of the sales scripts or whatever. If you're not doing that daily, you're going to get rusty, right? So is training. Now, also, if you're not tracking the things that are coming in and you're not serving people on a regular basis, meaning you're only focusing on the income, the result of the business only, then it's going to go downhill. And what I mean by this is, especially in sales, if you're somebody right now and you're in a type of business where you do the sales and you do the service, right? You're actually the one helping the individuals. This can be a fine line, and it can be hard to really divide the two. And what I mean by that is, sometimes you're like, okay, especially if you're just starting out in business, things may not be going, the way you want to, or maybe, you started off in a massive amount of debt. So you're focusing on like, okay, I need to eat. Like I need to support my family. I need to do, I don't even have a car, a house over my family's head. And you're thinking, man, I need to make some money. The fastest way to make that money is to give your time. So when I started out, especially with consulting, I walked into places and I said, I want to help you grow your business. I want to help you grow your business. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in here and you don't pay me until the results happen. And then I get a percentage. That's how I did it. I gave first. And then when results happened, I got a return. And by doing that, I was focusing on the things that mattered most. I was focusing on the service of helping individuals before the money. And that's one thing that is hard if you do both. If you're in sales and you're the one servicing them, when you're on a sales call, I hear it all the time. Oh, I'm doing really, really good. All of a sudden my sales just kind of went to shit. And, when I dive in a little deeper, what I realize with some of these individuals and some of these businesses is that they started focusing on the money instead of actually focusing on helping the individual. Now, that is a for sure way to start going downhill. Now, there's a whole bunch of different tactics out there, of how to sell and how to do all this other stuff. How do you know what works for you? Ask yourself a simple question. When you're on the call with them, did you deliver something that could impact them on that phone call? Yes or no? Did you help them while you were on that phone call? Did you lead from the heart and focus on the service, right? Or did you focus on, man, I need to close this person because it's going to be $500? Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody, I like money just as much as anybody else does. I think money is just as close to oxygen as anything else. But the thing is I also know that in order to impact more people, I need money. And in order to get money, I need to help more people. Do you see how it comes full circle? So for me, focusing on service, right? So ask yourself, when you're on the phone with people, ask them, what it is that they want. Why do they want that to happen? What are they currently doing to make that happen, right? And then ask them, what's holding them back? What's the biggest thing holding them back? Then provide them with some sort of solution, and then offer a service if you have a service that can solve the problem for them and move them in a direction of your product or your service. Now, the thing is when I say simple, it's not easy, right? So that's a simple outline, but actually doing it isn't easy. It takes practice. It takes training daily. It takes role playing. It takes objection handling. So when you're on the phone, remember, if you're in sales, or if you're in sales and service, and you start having, where you're not closing deals, and normally you're closing deals on a regular basis, take a look back and look at what you're doing. Record your call, or record or take good notes. If you're on sales calls anyways, you should be taking notes religiously no matter what. Look at what you're saying. Look at what your intention was when you got on that call. Was your intention to close the individual, or was your intention to help them? Because I guarantee you, if you look back, you'll probably find out that your intention was to close them versus actually serve them. Now, when you start serving more people, you'll never have to worry about the other end of it. You'll never have to worry about being in a financial deficit because you'll be serving more people. Now, even in, when I was working in the facilities, one of the biggest things is you have to focus on where they're at and how you can move them forward based off of what they want, right? If you can solve somebody's problem, whether it's to lose weight, whether it's to help them grow their business, whether it's to, get them thinking on the right mindset, all of these things are crucial to moving people forward. But you have to focus on giving them the solution to those things. And if you don't have the solution, move them forward, push them to somebody that refer them over to somebody, and I guarantee you that person that you refer them to might be able to, might start referring you some people as well. So don't always think that, you have to have the answer for every single person, because you don't. You don't always need the answer. If it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. Now, also remember, you cannot do this alone. If you're, an entrepreneur, an online entrepreneur, and you're trying to do everything by yourself, it's not going to happen. You can get to a certain point alone, but you need to start building out a team. You need to start building out and connecting with other people so you can get help, right? How do you expect to serve millions of people by yourself? Get people involved, grow your team out, and get them on board with your vision to impact millions of people in a positive way. And I guarantee you'll reach your goal. But just remember, you can't do it by focusing on the expectation of closing the deal or the money factor. The money factor will come, but you have to give first. And one of the things that I always relate this to, and the reason why I do the things kind of the way that I do them, is it's got to be service minded. And the reason why I'm so service minded when it comes to everything that we implement is because that's how I started. I started in the Marine Corps. Nobody joins the Marine Corps for money. Trust me. That's not the reason they join the Marine Corps. You join the Marine Corps to become a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And then what really hit me was that really pushed me forward to know what my true purpose was on this planet was when I got out of the military, right? I was going to school out in California, and I was donating. I was working with Challenge Athletes Foundation and Operation Rebound with Mission Continues, right? So nonprofit organizations. And when you start giving time and you start helping out people and you start doing good things, you start giving back into the community, you'll realize true happiness. You'll realize that because you were doing that, it led you to see life differently, right? Because one of the things that I hear so often is, what about me? What about me? What about me? Right? I hear it over and over and over again. Your business can't just be about you. Your success, the fastest way to success is to help other people succeed. If you're not helping other people succeed, you're not going to be successful. And that's in health, that's in business, that's in whatever area it is. The fastest way to your success is to help other people succeed first. And if you can do that, you won't have to worry about becoming successful. It'll naturally happen. It'll naturally occur because of the way that you're implementing and you're doing your business based off of moral standards, right? So when I think about being in the Marine Corps and I think about all of the different things, the deployments, the time away from home, and doing all the craziness and running every day, there's something that I want people to realize is, even though you're starting a business or you're in a business or you're a part of something, it still takes work. It still takes work. Now, as much as people don't like to hear that, it could be work on your mindset. It could be work on maybe your physical body. It could be work within your business, but it takes work to move forward, because every single day, if we're not learning something new, we're not growing forward. Now, when you think about your business, right, you have the fundamental things that you have to consistently do every single day. Track your numbers. How much income is coming in? How much are the expenses? How many people are you serving? How can we help and serve more people, right? what are we doing to do that? If you're not, if you have to track all of those numbers, right? Now, at the same time, you also have to know, okay, how is your body? How is your mind? How are you feeling? What is your energy like? Did you wake up and did you do something today that got your body in motion? Did you wake up and did you read something? Maybe it's a devotion. Maybe it's listening to a podcast. Maybe it's doing some jumping jacks with your kids in the living room real quick. Whatever it is, did you put your body in motion and did you start getting your mind in the right space of being growth minded? Right now, the last thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to have a whole bunch of affirmations around your house and not take action on those things, because an affirmation without action is useless. You have to act on those affirmations, right? You can't just tell yourself you're the best, you're a millionaire or you're a billionaire, and then have a 10-cent work ethic and expect that to actually come true and expect that to actually happen. It won't happen. It takes those actionable steps. So when you do those affirmations, which I'm big on affirmations, with action. Take the actionable steps to move you forward, to move your life and your business. And remember, and I said this earlier on, the truth to living is giving. The more you give, the more you'll receive. And the more you think and focus on positive solutions, the more you'll move in a direction of where you want to go. Now, when I think about walking into these places, right? Walking into these places, asking them to grow their business, they didn't know who I was. They didn't know what I was capable of doing, but they trusted me. Somehow they trusted me. And I think the key factor is I was giving before I received. Are you willing to give before you receive? Are you willing to get somebody else results before you get your own? And that's one of the questions I want you to ask. So if you're doing a business and you're selling products or services, ask yourself, are they going to get a result before you get paid? Is there something that you know for sure is going to get them a result before you end up getting paid? Now, does that mean go give all your service away for free? Absolutely not. But does that not mean you can't give vital information, some good information away for free on your social medias? Maybe it's a really good quality book, not just some chintzy bullshit ebook, but something that is going to be in depth that can move forward, right? Are you willing to give some of that stuff away so that way people can get to trust who you are and know, like, hey, like this is legit, right? And then show up for them every single day. And when you start showing up every day and they start seeing what you're doing, even your team will notice, holy cow, the energy is awesome. They're showing up every single day. They're doing the things that need to happen. They're tracking the numbers. They're following through. They're giving more. They're loving more. They're leading from the heart. They have their mission statement, their bigger purpose, their bigger why they're doing what they're doing. Everything is aligned. Then you'll move forward. Then you'll start seeing incremental progresses towards your goals, towards the things that you want to accomplish. But remember, one of the most important things, and one of the things that I see right now happening, is so many people, when they're in a business or they're creating a business or they're just starting out in business, they're focusing on the sales, which is extremely important, because income, if you don't have income, you don't have a business. I agree with that 100%. But the thing is when you're focusing on the sales, you have to be focusing on the result of the individual and actually truly wanting to help them, and the sale will come naturally. You go through those things, you answer, you build the value, and they will exchange value for value. If you're hearing no all the time, if you're frustrated and you're not moving in a forward direction, then you need to switch it up and you need to reevaluate what you're saying, how you're communicating it, and is what you have reaching the right demographic, the right niche, the right type of person for your product or your service. So I just wanted to hit on that stuff. I hope that you guys got some value today. I know some of these things, this is just what I've implemented in my businesses that have gotten me to where I'm at. I honestly don't think that I would be here without doing those things, without having that focus of giving, is the truth to living is giving, finding your bigger purpose, and making sure that you're working on that every single day. You're not stopping. You just keep reaching no matter what. Don't come up for air. Don't look at what the neighbor's doing. Don't look at the grass over on the other side. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on the people you're impacting. Focus on the people that need you. Focus on your product, your service, because if you have a product and you have a service, the most that can change people's lives, that can impact them, whether it's financially or health and fitness or what have you, and you're not putting it into the world and you're not showing up and you're not doing whatever it takes to actually make that happen for them, it's the most selfish thing that you can do. And the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is nobody gets into business to stop at 100,000. Nobody gets into business to stop at 40,000 and say, I'm good, I'm comfortable. The people that say they're comfortable at a certain point like that, we're just in it for the money anyways. So watch what your focus is. Always continuously impact more and more people. If you have the ability, then do it. Then just keep reaching every single day and don't stop, because the world needs people like you. The world needs the go-getters, the hustlers, the people that are willing to take a little bit of the bashing, to go through the mud, to get their hands dirty, and to roll it up and just say, guess what? I'm still here to serve. I'm still here to love. I'm still here to help as many people as I possibly can. No matter what the circumstances, I'm still going to show up day in and day out. I love you guys. I hope you have a phenomenal day. And like always, just keep reaching and lead from the heart.